What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So over the last couple of months, I've actually become a little bit evangelical about modular synthesis, okay? And it's not just because modular is cool and it's fun to play with and it makes nice sounds. It's because I believe that if you approach modular synthesis through the lens of a composer, it is one of the most amazing tools for shattering through writer's block, okay? If you're someone who opens up MIDI and you kind of play the same chords and the same notes over and over again, the tools that I'll show you in this video are two tools that you can use to just generate incredibly complex musical ideas that you're still very much in control of as a composer, but which have elements of randomness and surprise even to you. Okay, so we're going to look at two tools. First, I'm going to show you on the modular rack in hardware, and then I'm going to show you the same setup, almost identical, in VCV rack. Okay, of course, VCV rack is cool because if you don't have a rack, you can get VCV for free. You can download the patches in the description. You can play with them yourself. You can tweak them, and you can even tag me if you love them. All right. So welcome back. I'm really excited for this video. The first thing we're going to look at is the Turing machine. So let's get going. All right, guys. So I'm at the rack, and it's pretty much naked except for a few basic connections. What we're going to do is in 10 minutes or less, we're going to have the Turing machine generate us, compose for us, okay? Some original melodies that we sort of would never have expected. And we're going to sort of look at it through the lens of a composer and try to put that in the context of a typical sort of dance track, okay? So here's my voice. I'm going to plug this straight into the mixer, okay? It's a like typical nasty sawtooth, and it's coming from plats. And the cool thing about this oscillator, aside from the fact that it's very versatile and it sounds great, is that it's available for free, perfectly emulated inside VCV. So as I said in the intro, if you don't have a rack, you can just download the program and you can emulate everything that I'm doing and even probably enhance it because you've got infinite modules in the software version. Okay, so instead of taking that out there, I'm going to bring it here. And that goes through a path which is into a VCA, into a filter, and then into a reverb and a delay. Okay, so sounding pretty cool. Okay, and there's my voice. Now, let's get the Turing machine employed. So as you can see, if I plug the clock in, a whole bunch of action starts to happen. Now, there's fundamentally two sections. A section that deals with pitch, random voltages, and then random triggers, random gates. Let's hear the pitch aspect first, okay? So I'm going to take this output and I'm going to plug it into the oscillator. Now bear in mind it's not quantized, so it's going to be unmusical, but it's just a whole bunch of random chaotic voltages. Okay, not very musical. So what is cool though is that just in terms of the voltages, it's completely random when it's in the middle, and if I lock it, then it locks to a repeating 16-step sequence of the last 16 voltages, okay? Now, that is going to be of massive use to us as soon as we sort of rein it in musically, okay? So, let's take that out of the volt per octave, and instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it into a VCA, channel 2, and then I'm going to take that VCA out into a quantizer, and then I'm going to take the quantized output back into the volt per octave. Right, let's open up the filter. Okay, now I'm actually in key, okay, because my oscillator is tuned to C, and the quantizer is set to C as well. This is, by the way, this is Ornaments and Crime, but as I said, you can use a million different quantizers to do this in software. Okay, so now I've got a repeating melody, and it's tuned to the key, and it's not the best melody I've ever heard, but if I want a new melody, I can just open up to halfway, and now it's just going to pump out a whole bunch of random voltages. Now, bear in mind that I have scale as well. I can scale these voltages before the quantizer. Okay, which is quite cool. So if I hear something I sort of like, let's lock. Okay, it's not bad. Now I can scale that. Okay, now the real magic comes in with the gates, okay? Because you can see that it's also generating random gates. And this sequence is way too constant, okay? So what I want to do is I want to take these gates and I want to plug them into two envelopes, okay? This one's already plugged in. One envelope is going to go into the filter, and another envelope is going to go into the amp, the VCA. Okay. Hold on. What did I plug in here? That doesn't sound right. Nope. What I meant to do, ladies and gentlemen, is plug that in here. Okay, that's one. And then 2 is going to go there to that second envelope. I'm going to plug that in here. There we go. That's what it's meant to sound like. Alright, so now we've got an ADSR'd, filtered, reverbed, and delayed random melody. Okay? If I open up the release, it sort of stops choking those notes and it merges them all into one sort of continuous sequence. Now I can choke it again. Alright, so let's take that and introduce not just random notes but also random gates. There we go. There we go. All right, now let's harmonize with the bass. And put the kick in. Okay, this is pretty cool. Again, it's not the best thing I've ever heard, but it is something that can generate an idea that I can then go counter voice with another instrument, okay? I'm just gonna show you just how much you can sort of change these melodies. Firstly, just the scale. Let's open up that ADSR. Whoa, crazy on the feedback. Okay, now let's go back to random. There we go. Now we're talking. Oh, now we are talking. Okay, so it takes 5 or 10 minutes, but eventually you come up with always, every time I've used a Turing machine, you come up with something workable, something usable, something that surprises you. It's not only the melodic content, it's also the rhythmic content. It's the gates, okay? The gates are super cool. Now I'll show you something about the gates quickly. Something that's really, really cool is we could take, for example, we could take a gate, another gate, and we could have that trigger a hi-hat voice, for example. Okay, that's hat voice. And I won't do anything fancy to this voice. I'll just sort of bring it into the mixer, nice and soft. Okay, give me a sec. Okay, not quite a hat voice, but a rhythmic voice on the plats. Okay, and let's actually try that. There we go. Okay, that's really nice. Now I'm going to take another one of these gates, something less often. Okay. Or I could even take the existing melody, that would be even cooler. Let's take the existing gate and have that trigger the length of the decay. Oh, now that is super sexy. Okay, really, really feeling that is great. Now, Okay, now I'm almost reluctant to change that melody because it's really cool. And of course, once you put that back to the middle, you can never ever get these melodies back. And so aside from the fact that the Turing machine is an awesome tool, okay, aside from that, it sort of forces you into a workflow which is very immediate, because you have to, if you find something that you like, you have to kind of find the right sound, get the envelopes right, and record the fucking thing like now. So I think that's pretty important, how it sort of promotes urgency, okay? However, I don't get to keep this melody anyway, so I'm just gonna go back to random. And why that is, because I want you to hear how it changes up the gates. Okay, now you sometimes wait like 3 minutes until you get something you really like. There we go. Okay, now again, the ADSRs are everything in this system. Okay, if I open up that amp ADSR and I open up the filter, and I can tuck. Okay, not only that, guys, but I can also scale this melody. I can increase the voltage. Okay, so now I'm starting to work through the whole scale of, in this case, C Aeolian, C minor, C melodic minor. And I'm starting to come up with voicing options using the VCA that are just insane. I mean, I could sit at a keyboard for an hour and I could not come up with all these melodic variations. Let's increase the VCA more. So for example, I might want to even change the oscillator. Oh, that is sexy, juicy. Wow, that sounds really nice. I'm going to increase the delay a bit. Very, very sexy. Okay, and I love the range control. I absolutely am in love with this idea of having a VCA to scale the voltage in a melody. All right, guys, so that's the Turing machine, or rather that's an introduction to the Turing machine. And the truth is that we could sit for hours tonight and just have the Turing machine generate a wide variety of musical information in a particular key, okay? It's kind of even better if you don't know anything about music theory, because modular is so easy to lock into a key. You kind of just choose the key and you let the quantizer do the work. It's actually easier to make it advanced melodic information as a novice music theorist in modular than it is in MIDI, in my opinion. And that's why I said that in this video, I wanted to inspire you to approach modular through the lens of a composer. And maybe if you're not a composer, it'll be something that gets you into thinking about intervals and chords and stuff, because you produce incredibly complex results with just a little bit of musical inputs. Now, the Turing machine is a perfect example of that. And believe me when I say we barely scratched the surface tonight, okay? We could have slowed down the clocks, changed the sounds, shifted the envelopes, and not only written dance music, but huge varieties of ambient and different styles of electronic and other music using the Turing machine as sort of like an ideas generation tool. Okay, I think that's it for the Turing machine. Obviously, my Patreon is the place where we really go deep. And what I'm going to do is put a link on the screen right now to a video where I do a deep dive
into a software setup of the Turing machine, and I explore a whole bunch of different things that you can do with the Turing machine. So the link is on the screen for that and in the description as well if you want to check it out.